to you about the Educational Science Skill Evaluation, and I will call it the ESSE evaluation or ESSE test or ESSE certification. In the state of California, if you score a 4.0 on both portions of the test, then you're considered a certified interpreter for the K through 12 environment, so you can work in elementary all the way up to high school setting if you have if you have a 4.0 on both portions of the test on one of the levels. So the ESSE test is offered out of the C Center, which is in Southern California, and their website is www.seecenter.org. So just by its name, you can tell that they have a philosophy of C-sign, but their philosophy happens to be sort of educationally focused to a large extent, where they use C to help kids make some connections to English. Whether or not you agree with that, it really ultimately doesn't matter, because ESSE does not require you to sign in C-sign. They'll actually let you sign in your natural signing style, even if it's very strong visual ASL, and they won't dock you points or anything like that. They'll just rate you based on your signing style. But one of the nice things the ESSE does is they'll actually tell you what your signing style or your interpreting style is. So if you happen to be somebody who does a lot of transliteration means that you're signing essentially in English word order, and you're using conceptually accurate ASL signs to do that. And so they'll tell you if they see that you look like a PSE signer. They'll tell you if you look like an ASL interpreter. They'll tell you if you look like a C interpreter. So that's nice. You just sign in your signing style. They don't dock you any points for signing styles. You just interpret in your natural way, and they'll evaluate you. Now, as I mentioned, they have two portions of their evaluation system. One is a receptive portion of their evaluation system. How the receptive portion works is they actually have somebody on a videotape that signs short sentences, or maybe a couple of sentences at a time, and you watch that signed sentence, and you'll translate it into grammatically correct English. Now, one of the unique things about their receptive portion of the test is, for one, there's no voicing in ESSE evaluation system. It is purely a receptive translation activity, and when I say translation, it's because you do get to see the sentence. I believe you get to see it twice, and then you have time to write it down into grammatically correct English. Now, what they do is they actually set the test up so that they're going to sign to you a total of 90 sentences, 90 sentences. 30 of the sentences are going to be in C-sign. 30 of the sentences will be in PSE, and 30 of the sentences will be in ASL. And that's interesting. You'll get to see them all. But something that's really interesting is you don't have to pass the majority of all the sentences. You only need to pass whatever their passing percentage is within one of the categories. So if you passed enough in the C category, if you understood enough of those sentences to get a 4.0 or higher, then that satisfies that portion of the test. Or if you, let's say you understood none of the C sign, and you understood whatever the passing rate is for the PSE side, and by the way, the percentage is the same, it's just whatever that number is. You understood a passing amount in PSE, and then let's say you also understood nothing of ASL, your score comes out based on the PSE, which you passed. So they're going to look at each of the categories of the signing systems that you use and rate you purely on those. So within the 30 sentences per category, they actually even break that down. So they're going to give you 10 basic sentences of C sign, 10 intermediate level sentences of C sign, and 10 advanced level of C sign sentences that they're going to sign and you're going to write into English. They're going to do that same thing again in PSE, 10 basic, 10 intermediate, and 10 advanced PSE. And then they'll repeat that again in 10 basic ASL, 10 intermediate, and 10 advanced ASL. And then you can pass all 3 of the categories, that's great, but you only need to pass one of the categories to earn your overall score. So that's something that's interesting and unique to ESSE. It is only an ESSE sort of evaluation system. Now, they also have 3 options for you in the level of tests that you want to take. So after you're done with the translation of sentences, or it could be before, depending on how your day goes when you go there to test, you'll be given the option of, do you want to take an elementary level signing evaluation where you're listening to a classroom and interpreting into sign language? Do you want to take an elementary level? Do you want to take a middle school level, or do you want to take a high school level? And you pick whichever one you feel the most comfortable with, and then they'll give you that source material, which you'll be videotaped, and you'll listen to it. It'll be on a TV, I believe, so you'll actually see some of the classroom. You'll be listening, and you'll then interpret into sign language, your natural signing system, what you're hearing in the classroom. And so that's also sort of unique to ESSE. It has a little bit of connection, similarity with EIPA, but ESSE gives you 3 level choices: elementary, middle school, or high school level of test. And then the ESSE has categories that they're going to rate you on that include things like your signs, include your finger spelling, it'll include your expressiveness, things like your non-manual markers and body movements, all the things that are affective part of sign language. It'll include how your mouthing is as it relates to the signing system that you're using, and then other technical factors. And then, so they'll rate you on those, in those categories. They sort of break down the categories. And then one of the things that's nice is once they're done doing the full evaluation, they're going to actually send you a packet of feedback. And the packet consists of several pages. So it could be this many pages of a feedback system that's related to the ESSE test. And something that they do that none of the other evaluation systems do is they actually give you the comments that the actual raters make, and they don't summarize the comments. They actually, each rater that rates you, those comments get typed into your into your summary, and you'll see. So sometimes, because sign language is subjective in that people will have different perceptions of you. Sometimes you might see one rater really like something that you did, and another rater be sort of so-so about that same skill that you demonstrated. So that's good, because you actually get to see comments of different people's perceptions of you, so that you know how different deaf people might perceive you. And then you can also use the feedback as a tool to help you improve your signing. Because keep in mind, the certification tests or these evaluation systems are not meant to exclude you from the profession. They're actually meant to make sure that you can demonstrate these basic tasks in a skillful way, because the tasks that they evaluate you on are things that we should be doing every time we interpret. So it's not like it's something that they're throwing in to try to trick you up. It's really meant in a skill-based setting. These evaluation systems are meant to pull your overall skill out and make sure that you can do each of the tasks that are involved in creating an interpretation. There is no written test for the ESSE. You do not have to maintain CEUs at the moment for the ESSE. So once you take and pass it, at the moment you're good to go. You'll need to research whether or not, depending on, if you're in California, you know that it's good for kindergarten through 12th grade. So if you have a 4.0 or better, and you go apply at a school district, it does meet the minimum or the qualifications needed to be an interpreter in K through 12. If you're in a different state, you'll have to research whether or not your state has mandates or laws, and if not, if your school districts would accept something like this, which a lot of school districts in states where there aren't state laws or state mandates already in place, like tools like this because they can actually see written feedback on what your interpreting ability is. So again, the ESSE evaluation is at www.seecenter.org. I encourage you to go check out their website so you can know more about them, their philosophy for educational interpreting, and information about their certification evaluation system. So if you haven't taken any certification evaluation system, this is certainly a good one to start with. It's probably, it's not too expensive. I'm not going to name a price because those can fluctuate year to year for many organizations. I'm not saying that this one does, but rather than having to re-record a video in the future because of a price change, it's not that terribly expensive out of pocket for the feedback that you're going to get that will help you improve. Once you get the feedback, I would spend a minimum of a year working on those feedback items before I would retake, if I were in your position, before I would retake another evaluation system, whether or not a retake or a testing in a new system. All right, so good luck to you on your pursuit of certification. You can do it, you just have to believe that you can, and you don't have to wait forever to take the test. In fact, if I were an interpreting student, I would take the ESSE evaluation system somewhere within or very, very shortly after my last semester of the program, because that's a great time for you to get to see how are you now as you're now transitioning into the field of interpreting. All right, so good luck to you.